Greetings to the people of Latvia. This is Sal Kelly. I'm going to be visiting your fine country in October if all goes well, if there are no travel restrictions or quarantines in place. If not, we'll be meeting online. So there are a few questions that have been presented to me, and I would like to take about a half hour to answer these questions. As a preparation for my visit, you can decide based on what you hear today whether you feel called to be a part of the meetings that will be taking place during my visit. And as with any teaching, you want to be open-minded and use critical thinking with the information given through me, by my spirit guides, by my own higher self, and also anyone else that is offering information on topics similar to what we will be talking about today. So discernment is very important. Go within, feel the information that you receive today, ask yourself, does this feel right inside? And then also ask yourself if it feels right to be a part of the events that will be taking place in October in Riga. So let's get on with the questions. The first question is about the relationship between geographical location and state of consciousness, and particularly how does Latvia fit into that geographical perspective. Well, this is actually a rather complex question, and it has several aspects. We may not get into all of the aspects, but we will take a look at some of the main points of the question. There are, for example, ley lines and vortexes scattered around planet Earth, and when you are on a ley line or vortex, several things tend to happen. Your state of consciousness becomes amplified or magnified by the energies of the vortex or ley line. So when you're in an area that is recognized as an electromagnetic power point, you will tend to have your feelings, thoughts, and attitudes magnified. Now this is great if you go there with the idea of healing and sending love to the planet and connecting with others who feel the same way, because it magnifies your positive energy. It is an effective way of helping heal the planet. Of course, you also want to be careful not to have too many negative thoughts and feelings when you're in a vortex or ley line, as that will also become amplified. Many people, when they go to a vortex or ley line, will have a lot of emotion coming up, both positive and negative emotions, and this is because the higher frequencies are acting as a cleanser or purifier to help move the consciousness to a higher state. And oftentimes old negative patterns in the emotions and thought process need to be brought to the surface and healed, so that a purification process begins when you're in a power spot on the earth. Now, how does this relate to Latvia? Having not been to Latvia personally myself yet, I will have to rely entirely on clairvoyance when looking for ley lines and vortexes in Latvia. I've got a sort of a virtual map showing up in my head right now. To be honest, I haven't even really studied maps of Latvia or anything, so this is entirely based on clairvoyance. There's a couple of seas nearby. My intellect remembers that there is the North Sea on one side, and I guess part of another sea that comes in near Finland and Russia on another side. So you have a couple of bodies of water close by, which is significant when we're talking about power spots, where these bodies of water kind of come together more or less. Certainly doesn't look exactly like two bodies of water merging, but there's kind of some general areas of Latvia where you're close to both of these bodies of water. And so that area has a fairly high vibration near the northwestern part of Latvia. There's some rather diffused power spots. They're not real concentrated in just one localized area. It's kind of diffused over a region of northwestern Latvia. Also, the southern part of Latvia, there's apparently some forests. It looks like well, it's all fairly low elevation, but there are some forested areas that have a fairly high energy, with just a few villages scattered around in the area that we're looking at. Riga itself, as the big city there, has some minor ley lines that come and go through the city and different parts of the city. No really major ley lines or vortexes are showing up. Of course, churches and cathedrals are typically the places where the energy is the most concentrated, because that's where people go to pray. So you may find that there's a little bit higher vibration around the churches and cathedrals in both the villages and the city of Riga, and also the smaller cities and towns. So you'll find that the average vibration of people in Latvia is going to be a little bit higher in the areas where you have a lot of churches, cathedrals, temples, places of worship, than in the surrounding countryside, and also in those natural geographical places that are away from people, such as the forests and the seas that were mentioned previously. So overall, there are not a lot of really strong ley lines and power spots in Latvia. So it's kind of in it's a fairly active area because it's near the North Sea. The latitude is such that, especially in the summer, there's a lot of daylight, and this tends to increase the vibration a little bit naturally. However, the composite vibration of Latvia is about 3.73. That's the average of consciousness of all the souls who are regularly in Latvia, residents, citizens of that country. And that's right about equal to the average vibration of Europe and the world at large, in that same general range. So there's not a significant increase or decrease over the world average vibration in Latvia, and that's the case in almost every country. There's just maybe a couple of countries where the average is noticeably higher or lower. To give you the number one and number two, Tibet, which is not officially recognized as a country, and Peru and northern Bolivia, which is in the Andes Mountains. Notice that both of those places are in very high elevation. They're in the Himalayas in the case of Tibet, along with Nepal, and then the Andes Mountains in the case of Peru and Bolivia. But they have slightly higher vibrations than many of the other countries of the world because of their high altitude and the gravitation of yogis and beings who are drawn to high altitude places in order to meditate and pray and send out higher vibrations to the planet. So those are the two countries with the highest average vibration in consciousness. But most other countries are in the range of 3.7 to 3.75 generally, and Latvia is kind of in the middle at 3.73 as an average vibration. Of course, we're talking about millions of souls, so you may know some souls that are much higher in vibration than that, but you are a tiny minority of the overall people, obviously. If there's a few of you vibrating at upper fourth density, and you're in a place where several million people are vibrating in third density, you're going to pull things up a little bit, but not really enough to notice very much. If you had hundreds of thousands of people vibrating in upper fourth density, it pulls the entire average of the country up significantly. So that's the goal, is to get more and more people vibrating at least one level above the country's average. And the work that I will be doing there in October will hopefully be a catalyst for raising consciousness much higher than it is now. Of course, it is the work that comes through me. It is certainly not the human ego of this person that would be doing this. It would be simply allowing the higher frequencies to come through each one of you as well as through me. Since I'm not doing it, I will be a facilitator for this higher frequency energy to come through. So it's very important we get that point. Now we have some additional questions that have been asked. For example, we have what are the techniques that will raise your vibration, that will contribute to the raising of Latvia's vibration? And mentioned in the questions were bath rituals, which I would agree very much are good at raising vibration. Anytime you bathe or cleanse the physical body within reason, you don't want to spend all your time bathing or cleansing, or you remove all the vital oils and skin cells that are necessary to have a healthy body. So you can overdo everything, including bathing, but going to steam baths, hot tubs, hot springs, saunas, things of this nature are generally beneficial because they clean the aura and chakras, and it's easy to accumulate negative energies. So frequently bathing in therapeutic mineral waters and things like that, spas, treatment centers, things of that nature are very important. Perhaps 2 or 3 times a week would be the ultimate frequency for that type of bathing ritual, and that's an obvious therapeutic value technique you can do to keep your aura from getting dirty and getting your energy decreased significantly as a result of accumulating everybody's stuff in your aura, because bathing does help. It's not all you need to do. There's certainly other things you need to do. You need to clear your own negative thoughts and feelings. You need to handle any unresolved issues you have with the people in your life. You need to sometimes say no to people who are energy drains or energy vampires. So these are important additional steps to take. You need to recognize when someone's draining your energy and take steps to protect yourself. There's many techniques of self-protection, such as putting a field of golden light, a dome or envelope of golden light around you. If there's an actual negative attack, putting white light temporarily around you to push out the negative energies, and then using gold light as a maintenance field of protection around yourself. So these are some additional things you can do to deal with negative people who are in fear around you. In addition, there are several other things you can do. Of course, in the book Soul Integration, there's a list of almost 50 ways to raise your vibration. The number one way is being around high vibrational people. Now, that's not always easy to do, especially if you live away from a big city, or you are quarantined, or it's the wrong time of the year for high vibrational teachers to come and visit your town or city. So there may be a number of reasons why it's not always easy to surround yourself with high vibrational people, in which case you'll have to go online, maybe watch some videos of certain teachers. Sometimes you can get these for free or for a small donation, and you can research different websites that are focused on developing higher states of consciousness. And then, of course, the next is meditation, the next technique. And meditation is probably the second most important way to raise your vibration. Now, meditation does not have to be sitting in a lotus posture. It can be a moving meditation, sacred movement, such as Tai Chi or Qigong. It can be sacred dance. It can be hiking in the forest, where you're simply tuning in to both the inner and outer reality while you're hiking. So do not feel that you can only meditate with eyes closed, sitting in lotus posture. For some of you, that may be the easiest way to meditate, but it's not the only way to meditate. Another thing you can do to raise your vibration are breathing techniques, such as rebirthing, primal therapy, holotropic breath work, breath of fire, Kriya Yoga, Kundalini Yoga, and there's many other breathing programs that you can involve yourself in. Of course, yoga asanas can be very effective at raising your vibration. You don't need to bend yourself into a pretzel or force yourself to assume unnatural positions for long periods of time. That's not the purpose of yoga. Yoga is about the union of body, mind, and spirit. That's the meaning of the word yoga. So it's this union of body and spirit, or body, mind, and spirit. So that's another technique. Also, listening to high vibrational music can also help. Going to some of the ritual dances that occur. These are a few of the things you can do. So you have to make a commitment every day to doing something to raise your vibration. It can be just going into a quiet room by yourself and meditating, getting away from family drama and trauma, even if it's only for a short time. And you can also read inspiring books, watch inspiring videos, do what you can to not get sucked in too deeply to the negative news of the world, the doom and gloom with all the problems going on in the world, the fear of the neighbors and the people down the street. So you want to do something every day, make a commitment every day to not get caught up in the daily drama, because there's a lot of it, as you well know, and it's very easy and tempting to get caught up in a loved one's drama, or the neighbor's issue, or the issues with the government, or whatever it is. So this is a very important point when it comes to keeping your vibration up. So I'd like to talk about my books for a moment. I'm not here to heavily promote and sell my books or my seminars, just to let you know about them, and then you can decide if you want to order a book or a seminar. I have 7 books. The 2 that are being translated into the Latvian language. The first one is finished. It's Earth Awakens, and some of you may already have a copy. And the second one is Soul Integration, which actually was the next book in the series. This was the 3rd and 4th book in my series of 7 books. The first one is Life on the Cutting Edge, 2nd edition. And then we have The Earth Changes and Beyond. Then we have Earth Awakens, Prophecy 2017 to 2030. And we have Soul Integration. Then we have The Real History of the Earth. Then we have The Mystery of Time. And finally, The Secrets of Unlimited Energy. Those are the 7 books. And we've chosen Earth Awakens and Soul Integration as the first books to translate into the Latvian language, because this is a good place to start. There's a lot of personal growth techniques in these books, and it gives you kind of a broad overview of the material that my guides and I are bringing forth. Now, these books are a collaboration between me and a group of beings called the Founders. Yes, I do conscious channeling, or what I call telepathic transmission, with these higher beings. The Founders are from what I call 12th level, which is very, very high level of consciousness. I also work with other spirit guides, including the Arcturians from level 7, Lord Sananda from level 8, Isis and Thoth from levels 7 and 8, and my personal spirit guide Leah from level 6, upper level 6. So these are the beings I typically work with. Occasionally I might work with another being, but I tend to only work with a small set of spirit guides it's better that way, to just be with the beings that you most resonate with, where the interaction between me and the higher beings is relatively simple and straightforward. We know each other very well, and there's a minimal chance for distortion or deception to occur in the channeled material. So in the workshops I do periodic channeling, especially in the Unlimited Energy workshop that I'll be presenting in Latvia. The timeline healing is really a channeling from myself and the Arcturians, which is another group I work with, which are at level 7 in vibration. This is a group soul complex, so it's not an individual being. It's a group of beings that work together, and we simply call them the Arcturians because they originate from a star system in Arcturus. So they're the ones who actually brought timeline healing to the planet through me. And so I'll be teaching timeline healing all 3 levels during my appearance in Latvia. And I'm going to talk just briefly about what is timeline healing, because I think it's important that you be able to understand the basics before you sign up for the course, or if you've already signed up and you're looking forward to the course, what I give you today will just act as a little boost to get you feeling comfortable right away with the material. So timeline healing is a science. It's part of quantum physics, and it's based on the non-locality principle of quantum physics. It's based on an idea which is very difficult for the intellectual mind to comprehend, which is that all time is happening now. All time is happening now. Now maybe you've heard this idea already. There's books out there like Be Here Now with Ram Dass, there's The Power of Now with Eckhart Tolle, and there's many other books about being present in the moment, and how being in the moment is the key to everything, to stop escaping into the past or worrying about the future, and instead being right here, right now in this moment, sensitive to whatever's going on. So this is good general psychological advice, but it's more than that, because ultimately all time is happening right now. The past is happening right now, and the future is happening right now. You're thinking, what? This is, I can't grasp this. Well, it's true. And it's more like time is a waveform rather than a discrete entity that you can mark. It has discrete properties. You could say it's 5 minutes until 11, or it's 10 minutes after 11, or whatever time it is on your clock. And your calendar might say it's this particular day of the month at this particular hour. And so, yes, obviously we need linear time in order to keep track of our appointments, in order to keep the world functioning. And we have a linear brain that understands linear time. Okay, but that's only one piece of time. That's the particle state of time. Time also has what is known as a wave state. A wave form of probabilities and possibilities exists in space, but it also exists in time. In the advanced timeline healing training, which is level 2, we're going to spend about an hour to go into the physics of timeline healing a little more deeply. But basically, let's talk about the psychology of it for a moment. In timeline healing, you go back in time and give your past selves a healing, whether it's early childhood or whether it's in past lifetimes. And there's various techniques that are taught in the course for doing this effectively and powerfully. Timeline healing, according to the feedback that I've received from students and clients, is often far more powerful than psychotherapy. It has some similarities to psychotherapy. It also has similarities to hypnotherapy, past life regression, soul retrieval work, alpha theta healing, which is based on the Silva method, and there's many other techniques which have some similar elements to timeline healing. But timeline healing itself, based on the results we've gotten in the last several years of trainings and personal sessions, seems to have a deeper healing than many other similar therapies. This is not a sense of bragging or trying to sell anything. This is just from observation. So you may clear deep psychological problems very quickly using timeline healing. In the soul integration work that I do, we talk about what I call the 6 lower bodies. This is the physical, emotional, mental, astral, etheric, and causal bodies. And these bodies are what make up what I call the lower 6 levels, and then there's a higher 6 levels above that, which we collectively call the higher self. And so the idea here is to align or bring into a state of integration these 6 lower bodies. And this is the key to realizing your power and creativity in the world, the key to peace, the key to basically being a successful human being, is aligning these 6 levels. I'll mention them again. Astral, etheric, and causal are levels 4, 5, and 6. So it's the physical, emotional, and mental are levels 1, 2, and 3, and then astral, etheric, and causal are the 6 higher bodies. We call 4, 5, and 6 the subtle bodies. This includes the aura, the chakras, the meridians, and many other factors that are, well, many of you probably heard of the aura and chakras. You have probably done some healing techniques already, such as Reiki and acupressure, that use the energies of these subtle bodies and that provide an opportunity for healing on the level of the subtle bodies. So timeline healing, unlike traditional therapy, also works with the astral, etheric, and causal bodies, in addition to the physical, emotional, and mental levels, which psychotherapy deals with quite well. So this is one of the reasons why timeline healing is typically more powerful and effective than just ordinary psychotherapy. So we've given you a lot of information, and we think we'll pause at this point and let you absorb the information. We may come back for some additional words before I arrive in Latvia. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you and helping you on your path of personal growth. Thank you very much.